everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada, and you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. And today I thought that I would show you how I made the card that I shared as part of the Canada Inks Up blog hop that went live today. I love this Bottled Happiness. It's actually a bundle, it's a punch bundle, but I'm only using the stamp set for this card. And I'm using, I think, three of the new in colors. I'm using Starry Sky, Parakeet Party, and Sweet Sorbet. The new in colors are amazing. They all coordinate so nicely together. I love it when that happens. And so I thought I'd show you how I made this card because it's really not. It's two-step stamping and it's not a hard card to make. So let me switch over to my desktop and we will get started. So don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you get notified when I post upcoming videos or when I go live. If you hit the subscribe button underneath, you'll get a notification, and that just makes it easier for you to know rather than try to go out and find me. All right, so this is the Bottled Happiness stamp set. It is a photopolymer stamp set, and it is two-step stamping. And these images are 90% of what this actual size is. So this, for example, is this image here. And so it's bigger than what this appears. Just so you don't get fooled. These images are bigger. Some great sentiments. I love this sending cheer, sending a little message. And then there's the label. I'm going to use this label and stamp the sending cheer on it. Okay, so let me bring in my supplies. I'm using thick basic white cardstock as my card base. If you want a white card base, then using the thick basic white just makes it a lot sturdier than using regular basic white. This is cut 4 1/4 by 11, and I'm scoring it at 5 1/2. I always use my paper trimmer to score. We're using the scoring blade. And then this is the side I scored on, and so I fold over and fold into the raised line or the mountain and use my bone folder to get a good crease. It just makes your card fold much nicer if you do it that way. Okay, so there's my card base. Now, I've got 2 pieces these are the Designer Series paper assortment. So these are the new in color. This is Parakeet Party, Starry Sky. So there's really pretty paper. I'm going to use the polka dots. Let's see. And I've got a piece of basic white that I've already cut out. And this is the second largest of the scallop contour dies. So this is going to go on like this. The question is, it's hard to decide whether I think I'll use the stripes. So these 2 pieces I can adhere together. So this piece is cut 4 inches by 5 1/4, and this second piece in the Starry Sky is cut 3 3/4 by 5. So we're just going to adhere these together. You can use your Stampin' Seal or Stampin' Seal Plus, or in this case, I'm using my liquid glue. Just gives me a little bit of wiggle room in case I need to shift it around. And I just hold it in place and press down. I do that because part of the advantage of liquid glue is the wiggle room, but one of the things that happens is sometimes it can shift a little bit as it's starting to adhere. And so just by kind of pressing it in place, just allows it to actually set in place, and it won't shift on you. It doesn't do that very much. Also, if you've used a little bit of glue, a little bit too much glue, and you find you're getting ridges, just this helps to smooth out those ridges. Somebody asked me that on a video the other day. All right, so there's my card base. Now I've got this piece of basic white. Now, I want to use my Starry Sky, and we're going to stamp this little kind of ink bottle about maybe 1/2 inch or so from the bottom. Isn't that so pretty? Just, oh my gosh, these new colors, amazing. All right, so now I've got Sweet Sorbet and Parakeet Party. Those are the other two in colors that I'm using. So these two stamps, if I bring my stamps back in, these two stamps are intended to go together. They're two-step stamping, and so this one will be the large flowers, which I'm going to do in Sweet Sorbet, and then these with the leaves and the insides I am doing in Parakeet Party. So we're going to take, this is the large one with the flowers, so I'm going to ink this up using Sweet Sorbet. And let's try and get it so that it doesn't look like these flowers are floating in air. So just position it. There is a kind of an indentation that fits right over the top of the ink bottle, ink pot, I think they were called. And we will just stamp that. Isn't that pretty? I love Sweet Sorbet. I'm a Poppy Parade girl, and so the Sweet Sorbet is kind of in that same shade. So, okay, so now the trick with this is to kind of shift it around until you find where these flowers, the centers of the flowers actually fit and are in the centers. So I've kind of got it positioned over it. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect in the centers, just kind of get it so that it lines up so that these flower centers are in the centers of the Sweet Sorbet. It's pretty easy to do. You'll see them, you know, just kind of shift it around until you start to see it in the center. Isn't that a pretty card? Okay, so I'm going to use some dimensionals on this just to pop it up and give it some texture, some dimension. So I'm going to use, I don't know, 6. It's kind of a big piece, so that the middle of it doesn't sag. We'll put a couple in the middle. Like that. And I'm going to put this at an angle. So we're just kind of lining it up with the edge and the edge. Oops, let's move it down a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it just kind of get it close. There we go, roughly in the middle. There we go. Okay, now I need a scrap of basic white. Here's a scrap of basic white. And I'm going to stamp the label. Now I want to stamp off this. Oops. So I'm going to take a scrap of, hopefully I've got a scrap here that I can use. I have such a hard time stamping on my all right, we'll use this as a scrap on my great grid paper. You can buy this grid paper. Stampin' Up! Has some amazing new branded products, and I have a hard time stamping on it. So we're just going to take a scrap here. And so I'm just going to stamp off, and then I'm going to stamp. So it's just kind of a lighter color. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want my sending cheer, which I'm stamping in full strength, to show up. There we go. And now I'm just going to take my paper snips and I'm just going to fussy cut this out. There is no die, and the punch only punches out the big bottle. So I'm just going to take my paper snips. It's pretty easy because it's, for the most part, mostly straight lines, a little bit curved. And I'm cutting exactly around. So you're just using the image to as your guide. So you're cutting it exactly, oopsie, on the lines around your image. So we're going to take and we're going to pop this up with a dimensional. I'm just going to use one. I think one will be fine. And we'll put that in the middle. There we go. All right, now, so that's mostly the front. Now, what I want to do is this is the new in color twine pack that coordinates with the new in colors. So I'm going to take the Sweet Sorbet and I'm going to take a piece that is, let's see, about 8 inches. I probably don't need quite that much. And I'm going to double it over. So you want 16 inches and fold it in half basically. And that will just give you lots of twine because I'm going to tie a bow. Sometimes if you kind of are too skimpy, it makes it hard to tie a bow. So I'm just tying a bow with my twine. And I'm just going to fuss with this to get it kind of small, because I'm going to take a glue dot. There we go. Just wanting it. There we go. That's small enough. I'm going to take a glue dot and there we go. I'll take my paper snips and I'm just going to put this right here. You can put it wherever you want, but and grab my ribbon scissors. And I'm just going to trim my tails. I don't want them quite so long. There we go. All right, so almost done the front. The last thing I want to add, these are the new decorative dots in the in colors. You can see that I have used a lot of the Sweet Sorbet. So I'm going to take my last one in Sweet Sorbet, and we're just going to add some in each of the colors. They come in five of the in colors, 5 shades of the in colors, and 2 different sizes. So I'm using Parakeet Party, Sweet Sorbet, and Starry Sky. So that's the front of my card done. And because I don't need an extra piece for the inside of my card, I am just going to take and stamp this. Now I'm not going to, okay, where's my scrap piece? Again, take my scrap piece. I don't want to stamp. I don't want to use my grid paper. Not funny. All right. And I'm not, because I'm going to stamp off. I'm not putting the whole image on there. And then the same, I'm going to put these. Now, this might take me a minute to figure out. There we go. I think that's the line up there, getting the centers of the flowers lined up. Just to add some color to the inside of the card. If you've used a different colored card base than this, then you would need a piece of basic white that is 4 inches by 5.5, and you would stamp your sentiment or your images on the inside. All right. Pretty card. I love those. I love those new in colors, and they all coordinate so beautifully together. If you have any questions as you're watching my video, as I said, the written instructions, supply list, and measurements for the card are all on my blog, and the link to my blog is underneath this video. If you have any questions, just leave a comment on my blog or on this video, and I will be happy to answer them. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Happy stamping. Bye.